What's going on, guys? TriggerTrav back here again, and this time we're on Complex, running Ronin Prime today, finally. Every game I've been going into so far, I've been trying to run Ronin after playing with Monarch for a long time, and then every time I go to do it, I keep forgetting to switch over to Ronin Prime, so using that, still using the R101. I'm actually gonna probably be switching out of the R101, at least for a little bit, after this video anyway, just because there was a lot of stuff in the patch, and I haven't really had a chance to test a lot of it out. I think I'm going to go switch over to the flatline for a little bit and see if it got changed. I'm more curious about that gun more than probably any of the other ones that got patched. Just for the fact that the way the gun works and the way the accuracy is versus the damage and kind of the way, you know, the RNG bullets, quote-unquote, work and stuff. I kind of wanted to see how that works, so I'll probably be doing that next. So there will be a little bit more variety after this video, just because I know I've been using the R101, I think, in almost every other video I've ever made, and that can get a little old. And also, I need to get good at a lot of the other guns too. I want to hit the alternator again because I just love that gun. But yeah, let's get into it. So I've actually been kind of noticing lately that the Titanfall community has been like a lot more lively, I guess. It's always been a very like kind of together, very close-knit kind of group. And I love it. I love the game for that fact that, you know, a lot of people are into this game for the right reasons, and, you know, it's not very toxic at all. There's a lot of good camaraderie going on. Everyone's pretty chill with everyone. And it just, after this update with Monarch and all the balance changes and how we're seeing how this whole new metagame is shifting, now there's been these big introductions, the new map that got dropped, Relic, it's just been really cool to kind of see what the community's been doing and how we've been kind of just picking apart the game, talking about what we like, dislike. The forums have been blown up a lot more. They always blow up before a new patch, once we hear news about, you know, what's coming next. I remember once the leaks started coming out, and then when we finally got confirmation on Monarch and how everything was going, it was really cool to just see everyone speculating and stuff, and then we all get into the nitty-gritty of, like, you know, what's going on with the meta now that stuff has been introduced. And it's really cool to see everyone interact and, you know, what pans out, like who was right, who was wrong, kind of just like, you know, what we think, how everything's going to do. And so I really like the community for that. I think this is one of my favorite games just for that very reason of, like I said, like the community just being super close. But yeah, let's get into it. So finally got into Ronin Prime. I love it absolutely to death. And I think the reason why, I know everyone's been kind of riding on Monarch lately, and, you know, it's very cool Titan. It's got a lot of different quirks to it, just because of the way the upgrade core works. Ooh, double kill, that felt nice. Just the way the upgrade core works and how everything kind of works together, and you're trying to figure out what the best loadouts are based on whatever, and it's very experimental. You know, you get to try different things. But I think the reason why I like Ronin more than Monarch, or probably, yeah, every other Titan in this game, is just the way, not because of like the high damage output, although I think that's part of it. I just think it's because of the way its mobility is designed and the way it kind of moves around, the way you're able to get up close and be very experimental with it, and the way you move and the way you like act and like flank and stuff. I think that's why I like it the most. Honestly, when I'm playing as Ronin, I don't feel like I'm really in a Titan. I think I'm just like a bigger pilot, if that makes sense. It's a really weird way to phrase it. But just the way you're able to not really be like quote-unquote limited or like held back by the way the movement system works with the Titan. You know, when you're running a Legion or say Tone, I guess, even, I don't know why you'd want to run Tone, but that's an old another story. But yeah, just the way those Titans work, you're kind of limited in the way you can move. I mean, Legion is slow as heck, and that's for a balance reason. I'm not harping on Legion being like, it should be faster, it should be able to dash across the field like Ronin, because that's not true at all. I think it would be absolutely insane. But just the way you're able to really do what you want to with Ronin and really be able to have it react just the way you want it to and not feel like you're arbitrarily like held back because of the way it moves, the way it's a gun or everything works is really cool. Also, just the way, and I know it's meant as like an up close and personal kind of thing, but I actually think it has a good balance between being up close and being far away. Just because it does have your sword, but at the same time you also have your arc waves. And I feel like that's what sets it apart, is because of the way I'm able to get up close and do my damage with my sword, with my gun, but then when I'm able to get out and get some distance from someone, I'm still able to have that longer range kind of ability and get that stun with the like lightning effect that the sword has. So I can then reload, get back in, engage, and pop back out. And I feel like that's what it allows you to do. And I think that's what it was kind of billed as, was more like a flanking Titan. But I honestly really believe like it's one of the better Titans just for being able to not feel arbitrarily limited. So that's why I'm kind of hopping off Monarch for a little bit. I felt like I could be sort of hyper aggressive with her, but it's just a little bit different because you're not getting that same kind of movement abilities. Like I just did the phase dash and got out of there, dropped my smoke. Like I'm able to just do these things very quickly and get around people and not feel like I'm held up. But at the same time, Monarch, on the other hand, you kind of have to disengage, back up, do some damage. Like it's a little bit different dynamic, and it just doesn't. It fits my playstyle to a certain extent, like getting hyper aggressive and getting into people's faces, hopping in and out, but not in the same way. So that's why I think I'm going to stick with Ronin for a little bit and just kind of go back to him. I kind of want to see, now that we've had 7 Titans, I remember reading on the forums the other day someone mentioning, this mean we're going to get like a Monarch Prime or something? I'm like, guys, we just got a new Titan. Like, what do you mean we're getting a Prime? But I think that'd be really cool to see if they did do a Prime, or if now that they have introduced a new Titan and they're seeing how the community's reacting, how it's changing the meta, if they add another new Titan later on after all these new maps come out and stuff, and the game modes. I think it's Frontier Assault or something like that. It's a new game mode. I think it's coming out in July, I believe. But now that this stuff is coming out, we have that plan. Would they actually add another new Titan or a whole new ability class? I think it'd be really cool to see something that would change up the pilot meta, not as a gun, but as a class itself. Like, pretty much a lot of people either run Cloak. I rarely see Hollow Pilot. A lot of it's grapple, phase dash, some stim, but I'd like to really see the dynamic change if they added a whole new class for pilots, just to see what that would do. I'm not really sure what they could do to change it. I think Respawn would have to get pretty inventive to see what they do. But at the same time, now we've had all these meta changes, I'm just loving the way it's been changing, how the community is kind of like interacting. We're all getting very into it, and it just seems really cool. So I just want to see that more and more, because I feel like this just keeps our community growing, is seeing what Respawn's going to do and how it changes the game and stuff, which is why I think this free DLC approach that they've been doing has been really cool. It's been really keeping us all like on our toes and really anticipating. It's not like we get one DLC pack, we get like a map pack or something, and then we're waiting like 2 months for just new maps, and then nothing really changes that much, or if it's just cosmetic. I mean, obviously the Prime Titans are all cosmetic, but there's been some stuff that changes the meta, and I feel like that's really cool, and I feel like that's why Titanfall is kind of has some lasting power. I wish the community would get bigger. Every time I talk to my friends and stuff, I've always been like, guys, you really need to give this game a try. Like, it's cheap, like, get into it. But at the same time, we're a smaller community, but I love that fact also, just because we're so close and everyone's kind of really cool with each other. We all get into, and now that I think about it, I feel like that's part of like the network system that the game has really helped, especially on the console. I know on PC, usually there's some kind of system like that always available, but especially for games on console, it's a little harder to kind of have these like dedicated network party servers. I mean, Battlefield does it, which I think is really cool. I think like that's part of where it came from, but at the same time, it's just kind of cool to be able to get together. And I mean, if you look at like Iniquity, for example, he's got that huge network, the Purple Army, which I'm proudly a part of. Shout out to Iniquity, love it. But just the way you're able to build these tight-knit groups based on individuals or like what you're doing and stuff, and like the happy hour and everything, I just think it's really cool with community engagement strategies and tools that Respawn is really kind of very much good about supporting and implementing and really making people feel connected. And I feel like that's one of the a really good thing they can carry into the next Titanfall if they did, is to just give us more community tools for us all to be engaged with each other and stuff like that. I feel like that'd be really cool to see. We'll see what else they do with that. I really want to see what they're going to do next. Like I've said probably like 4 or 5 times every video, what they're going to do next, like what is going to happen. I feel like that's the anticipation factor is so huge with this game, just because there's so many underlying systems that go into these games, what with Titans, pilots, all the abilities, all the different classes, the different loadouts you can use, the guns. I mean, there's so much all working together that it's a really cool thing to see how stuff can interact with each other. And I feel like that's where this game really lets you experiment and where people are gonna keep coming back for more. So back to the game at hand. We've been absolutely wrecking these guys. I feel a little bad, but at the same time we've been doing really well. I feel like that's because partly as I've been playing more and more, I've been trying to focus more on objectives and not being such a kill whore, especially in games like Bounty Hunt or anything like that's more objective. I try not to be such a, well, a kill whore. There's no other way to describe it. I try not to really just focus on pilots. If I have an option to score points for my team, I go for that first. Sometimes it works out where I still have really good games kill-wise and, you know, get my KD up. Other times it's more to help out the team, and I think that's more what you should do in these kind of game modes. I mean, I've seen people, or like games where people have tried to arbitrarily increase the game time just by withholding money, or I mean, you see guys with like $1,500 on them, and then, you know, they keep having it. They're right next to the bank, but they're just gonna sit on it, and then, you know, it's always in the game to kind of up their stat a little bit and stuff, which is fine. I mean, then you just get to play more, which is always a fun thing. I mean, who doesn't like longer matches? I kind of get a little bummed out whenever you see some bounty hunt matches that go for like maybe 6-7 minutes and it's already done. Team got to like 5 grand and the other team barely has like 300, and they've just, you know, absolutely wrecked them and got to the end game really quick. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, because you feel like you did a really good job. At the same time, you kind of feel like, you know, it was a very short match, and these games are, you know, I want to play some more. It's very addicting. The gameplay loop is insanely addictive, so I really like to play. But I had a really good game today. I'm not sure what my kill's at yet after this, but I want to try to get him. Nope, I guess I can't. Oh, that's how you know, it threw me off that edge. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Had a pretty good game today. I'll try to get on that flatline video and test out some other guns soon just to see what stuff works. But yeah, thanks for checking me out. Like and subscribe if you want. I'll check you next time. Peace.